This video is for comedy purposes only, and as such, should not be taken too seriously. Well, if I didn't think Rick was crazy after seeing his dead wife everywhere he went last season, I do now after finding out he's voluntarily listening to that music. And thus, we begin. The age of Daryl's increasingly boy bandish hairstyles.
Thing is, we had a pretty big build-up overnight. Dozens more towards Tower 3.
I must wonder where they found the exact materials to rebuild that watchtower after it was blown apart by a f***ing grenade launcher in the last episode of Season 3.
You try anything. Anything. You're gonna be the one who loses.
I don't have anything else to lose.
Aside from the husband you literally just mentioned.
They had names when they were alive. They're dead now.
No, they're not. They're just different.
We now return to Kids Say the Dumbest Shit. Well, that wasn't worth doing, considering making all that noise can awaken a walker in the store that then goes on to bite someone in your group, because you wanted to make a point that even cardboard cutout zombies shouldn't be allowed to keep their heads. That moment when a few shelves breaking causes the huge, heavy wooden shelving unit to fall forwards. For some reason. CGI Walker looks very CGI-y. I think at this point in time the question that has to be asked is this. Why did a really heavy helicopter crashing down with some speed into the roof of that store not cause the roof to collapse? Instead it was fairly light walkers that brought it down, and on top of that was showing them falling through the ceiling, and it appears as though what's holding up the roof is incredibly thin. So how did it hold out against a helicopter crashing into it? She's literally covered in mud, keeps a pretty clean and tidy tent. This guy gets his throat torn open, but instead of doing something human like screaming, which even if you try to argue that he was in shock, that doesn't really work, because if you're asleep and someone stabs you, you're going to wake up screaming. Just think of how someone reacts when they're asleep and get cold water thrown over them. They're awake in like 0.2 seconds.
Are you sure?
You taught us. I can do it.
Okay, well you have to do it now. And you do it right now because you have to do it before he turns. I'm going to stay right here.
I know you've got to prepare kids to learn to fight in this situation, but it's quite cruel to allow a girl of her age to do that to her father, who has literally just died. Here's a walker that has learned to climb things again. I miss these guys. It's been like 3 seasons since I've seen one do that. Removing a sin here for her acting like a normal human being for the first time in what is actually quite an emotional scene. Isn't the whole idea in the first place that they actually wear those over their faces? Not much point in just having it around your neck. That's not going to stop a disease.
We missed you last night at the fondue party.
I could make it. Went to see the village people. They are stone soul gas, man.
All right, I can dig it.
And what do we got here?
Somebody dragged him out here. They set him on fire. They killed him and set him on fire.
That moment when you regret hiring the new detective because he's a little too loud and aggressive.
Not until they're in the ground.
You should at least let Herschel or Dr. S take a look at you. Make sure nothing's broken.
That moment when you regret hiring the new gravedigger because he's still too aggressive. Well, the first thing I'd be telling people is to stop coughing without covering your bloody mouth.
I'm sorry about what happened. What I did to you. Everything.
It's on both of us.
No, it's on you. Yes, Rick went way too far, but it was only after he'd pinned Daryl to the wall, and then pinned Rick to the wall, and then punched Rick twice for no reason.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Clint?
Don't come in.
What is it?
His Tamagotchi just died, and it kept it alive for like 19 years, and that's a stupid question because he's obviously fucking sick, you numpty. He wouldn't have been all that far away, and in reality it'd look pretty bloody suspicious to turn around and she's thrown the bucket looking all guilty and sad. But in the Walking Dead world, he goes out a screenshot and he's disappeared entirely. I guess I don't have to really say much in regard to this sin now, do I? It's very self-explanatory. Just know that when I saw it, I sighed heavily.
Be different. I'd be right out there with you.
I think everyone who can drive and has been driving for a little while knows that these kinds of scenes where someone takes their eyes off of the road for like 5 seconds is some serious BS. I don't want to promote unsafe driving in any way, but if you take your eyes off that road, even if it's straight for even 2 seconds, you naturally veer without even knowing it. So in reality, they'd be in a fucking hedge by now. It's funny that I just got done writing that and then this happened straight away. So take 5 cents here, Daryl, for not just allowing Michonne to twist the dial back and forth and for feeling the need to take his eyes away from the road while simply twisting it back and forth. Yeah, don't say you're sorry or anything. My god, we know he can speak and he just spit out blood all over the poor guy's face, and the grace period for saying you're sorry, even on the brink of death, is like, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds?
Put your t-shirt behind it. You've got to be able to get to it quickly.
Yes, Mom. I mean, ma'am.
Don't call me Mom.
Well, she didn't mean to, hence why she instantly corrected herself.
Everybody else, they're probably dead.
Well, it helps to keep moving.
No, it doesn't.
Actually it does, because ignoring the obvious bits and pieces like it'll take his mind off of what's going on in his head, there's a huge chance that everyone is still alive. He's literally basing his current opinion based on little to no facts about how the flu affects everyone. In reality, I'd like to think that rather glaring problem with his statement just now would be pointed out. But of course, it isn't.
They were a threat. I was trying to save lives. I had to try. Somebody had to.
In fairness, the council had already enacted plans to separate the infected from everyone else when she decided to sneak in and kill those people. It's not like they sat around that table discussing it and said, ah, it shouldn't be a problem, let's let them keep living with everyone else. During the zombie apocalypse, someone took the time out of their busy schedule of avoiding being eaten by the dead and killed by the living to turn these upside down to spell out the numbered version of the word hell. You know, because why not?
Man, go easy. You don't know what we're dealing with.
That moment when you're regretting hiring the new gardener because he can't seem to do the job without getting pissed off. Seriously though, these jokes are amazing and coming in thick and fast. I'm just hoping he does another few odd jobs in a really angry fashion before he calms down to give me a few more bits of material.
Why the hell didn't you let go?
It's almost as though he watched season 3 of The Walking Dead, saw Michonne and how she was, and thought, I think I'd like to give that whole attitude thing a go for a few episodes. See if it's a nice fit.
You can't. Or, don't.
He couldn't catch that even if he wanted to, you fucking dope. Since it landed on the bloody stairs on the way down.
Just let it go, Daryl. Man's made his choice.
You should take your own advice. Over the course of the series, Hobo Joe here quickly transforms from I'm a vet and I'm doing my best to out of the way, the doctor has arrived. Someone, go grab my brain surgeon tools. I'd have loved for us to get some look at him maybe reading some medical journals or hanging out with a doctor they found to prove that it's now the norm that he can perform pretty technical medical procedures on humans.
I hereby declare we have Spaghetti Tuesdays every Wednesday. First, we have to find some spaghetti.
Yeah, don't focus on, shutting the fucking gates or anything.
Carl? Carl? Carl?
You okay?
I didn't think to answer you because I learned from Merlin season 3 that that's not a cool guy thing to do. I don't know about any of you guys out there, but when I was like 11 years old, I got the flu, and it was thankfully the only time I've ever had it. And for a solid 5 days, I couldn't eat or drink without vomiting it back up. I most certainly couldn't even get out of bed. Hell, I could barely make it to the toilet. So seeing all these people with a flu that kills them all standing around kind of makes it feel unrealistic.
Oh, get back in your cells.
It may be helpful to not refer to them as cells, and maybe say get back to bed or get back to your rooms, because they kind of stop being cells when you're not even locking them. He's all about making people feel better about their current situation. I just figured he'd refrain from calling them cells.
Everyone, stay in your cell!
Really? Jesus, that is one committed dude to still want them to stay in bed and rest while he fights off a walker on his own. I mean, it's dumb, so he's going to get a sim regardless, but still, committed.
Go.
The fence is more important. We need to keep it standing.
Well, one of you fucking go already. There was a fucking gunshot for fuck's sake.
Come on, boy. Come on, Henry. Just a little more.
Where are all of you who said the only reasons walkers don't run now is because they aren't fresh anymore?
Carl. Carl. Carl.
For fuck's sake, I know I made a joke the first time, but now I'm saying this. Answer someone when they bloody call you, numpty. Take 2 cents for that.
Hold on, please. Hold on.
Shouldn't you at least roll him on his side so he doesn't drown in his own blood? I don't know much about first aid, but I know that much.
Okay. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, and she's just kissed the guy who has the virus.
There's a light yet to be found.
You know, because why the hell not?
the army going into Atlanta. He wasn't about to let us out of his sight.
Lucky for us, the old man's truck was pretty much stocked floor to ceiling with sketty rings, turkey chili.
I know this helps to give some context to their situation and how they survived, but I don't think any group of reasonable people would tell a complete stranger this entire story of survival. The worst part is when they go ahead and tell him that they've basically got an enormous amount of food, which could lead him to take it. Awkward back of the truck sex while her daughter and sister are 1 foot away.
Somebody dragged him out here. They set him on fire. They killed him and set him on fire.
Wake up, the rocket it's fly.
Reach the wizard.
It's fly.